Welcome back everybody to the channel, and for all of you that are new here, welcome. I'm DarkHour717 and this is going to be the news and review for Star Citizen the week of March 6th. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Help me out with that YouTube algorithm as we continue to push to get to the 5,000 subscriber mark. It really helps me out and helps get the videos out to more people, and I personally thank everybody that has already done so. Also, stick around to the end to see how you can get entered in for our YouTube exclusive giveaway of a Tobii Eye Tracker 5. This week in the verse, we saw the end of the free fly as well as the referral code, though we do still have the sales going on for the discounted starter packs and Jumptown special event. These sales include the Star Runner, Valkyrie, and Prowler for dropships, the Aero Gladius, Cuddy Black, Vanguard Warden for fighters, and the Nox, Ursa Rover, Nova Tonk, and Ballista for ground vehicles. These are all being sold at their normal price with no discounts or war bonds and will continue to the end of Jumptown and Ninetales events, which of course Ninetales ended on the 4th of March after its last running in the afternoon. And Jumptown of course is still scheduled to run through the 6th of March, so just a little bit of time left to get in and get some more of those packages. Its final event is scheduled to launch at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for a final 16-hour event on March 6th. So get your fill as these are quickly coming to a close. Now I will admit that with these events, Ninetales when it was running and Jumptown while it's still running now, the participation level definitely seems much lower. We were able to get in and have fun and enjoyed getting into a few good battles with some really great folks out there. I really think that things such as the variable spawn rate for the packages did play a little bit of a part into the lower participation, because it really did force people to work harder and longer to really make the big payoffs. It'll definitely be interesting to see what the debriefing shows as far as how many people played it and what the comparison is to the last run of it. On the lore front, we saw a list of lore maker questions posted with answers ranging in a wide field of topics, such as what keeps people from using regen as a faster than light mode of communication. Dealing with this, they actually came up with the creation of gap, meaning the longer the distance traveled in any situation, the more memories that are going to be lost in your regen, as well as a deterrent in game that makes it accelerate the degradation of your imprint. And this will keep people from using it too often with Death of the Spaceman as it evolves, in that eventually they will not be able to use the same character. Other questions do touch on topics such as the most dangerous system in the UEE, as well as process for designing a star system, or whether there will ever be a Tavaran ship manufacturer, and many more. This of course is actually a pretty good read and I greatly enjoyed it, and I'll put a link in the description below so you guys can check it out if you like to. On the roadmap this week, we actually found that the release card got Rivers Core Tech added to 317. And this is actually really exciting, and we'll go more into it when we talk about Inside Star Citizen. The tool itself actually allows for river basins to get further developed and ready for production use. The first implementation of this will be on Microtech with its main river, and I honestly can't wait to see this thing. Also on the roadmap this week, we saw the progress tracker had the addition of the dynamic mission system, which will allow select mission types to be dynamically tailored to the conditions on the current environment, making it possible for them to customize payments based on distance traveled and other things such as the level of risk taken. It's now been added onto the mission features team, and something else to really look forward to as that gets developed. So really a light week this week as far as the roadmap goes, and that's kind of understandable, as last week we definitely saw more than what we had expected. But the rivers is definitely a great thing because it allows us the ability to actually touch the water, walk into it, and check it out without receiving the insta-kill. Now keep in mind this is the initial setup on Microtech, and my guess is that if you try to go into the waters on Hurston, you're gonna perish. But it's really a great step forward in the right direction for the future, where we'll have underwater exploration and missions to take on. On Thursday, we also received the Xenothreat debrief. We saw that get published with a list of stats pertaining to the event itself, and those stats include a total of 882,595 crates that were delivered in Phase 2, 18,136 Idrises destroyed, 4,892,141 PvE deaths, 60,486 PvP deaths, and we saw the Connie Andromeda take the throne in the deadliest player ships, with a total of 375,328 AI kills and 3,862 PvP kills. It was followed closely by the Redeemer, and then the Sentinel, Hurricane, the Cuddy Black, and finally the Aegis Gladius to round out the top 6. Also stats pertaining to the top destroyed player ships, most used weapons, top org contributors, highest player damage to the Idrises, and the most crates turned in are listed as well. You can check those stats out using the link in the description below. Definitely some very interesting information there. This brings us to Inside Star Citizen and some of the amazing updates that we saw with that. And those updates had to actually do with the rivers and basins in the River Giver portion. And as we know, we saw about a year ago that they were talking about the development and building of the river system. And it really seemed like they may have just put it on the back burner or forgot about it or weren't working on it. But it turns out that they were actually working really hard toward trying to implement it for 3.16. Unfortunately, they were unable to do so and needing to post it until now at 3.17. At least taking this extra time made sure that it worked the way they wanted it to work and looked the way that they wanted it to look, and it absolutely looks amazing. I think it truly paid off, holding off for one extra patch to get things done right. The ability now to walk into the water without getting insta-killed is an actual thing. Though limited just the first river, which is going to be out on Microtech, it's an amazing added feature that will lead to underwater exploration. As we know, when the Star Citizen Live graphics team was aired, they spoke of eventually forming underwater caves and extensive landscapes. The key will be to make sure you always have your helmet on. And though they didn't address oxygen levels, my guess is that we're going to see the same amount of oxygen be available to you underwater as what would be available if you were in space or on a moon or on another surface. What we saw in the video showed the lighting effects and underwater effects, and they looked absolutely phenomenal. And to be able to get the shimmer of the light refracting and reflecting off the water surface and onto nearby objects was absolutely gorgeous. This is definitely one feature that many have been looking forward to, and I think it is really going to pay off and add an immense amount of new experiences for everyone as these rivers grow and appear on other planets. And I'm really excited to see what they come up with for underwater caves that we can go into to find new things. During Inside Star Citizen, we also saw an update on the reputation system and the ideas and plans that they have to take this to the next level. In this segment, they talk about the desire to take the reputation into more depth and have it affect everything in the verse. And in past discussions, they've mentioned this before, and having effects such as a higher or lower buying and selling price when cargo trading, which will actually be based on whether you have favorable or unfavorable reputation. Also mentioned previously is your rep affecting the items you can or cannot buy in game from certain vendors. They expand on these ideas and discuss how it will play into the crime stat system, alleviating some of the hassle we see in Xenothreat and other events that quickly turn you into a target because of an errant shot. This is also going to be able to expand and bring in the potential for illegal Xenothreat gameplay for players who want to play that side of that event. And in my personal opinion, I think this is very much needed for it. The way they describe it is, as you build rep with a group, say it is a favorable rep on a legal side of things, a single shot will no longer make you an instant criminal. If you have that rep built up, it actually allows the AI to use discretion and some leniency in knowing that sometimes, accidents happen and they hold off on attacking you. Though if you continue to friendly fire or commit illegal acts, then their discretion will diminish until they decide to take you out. Of course, as explained, this will also require a favorable history to build this neutral zone up, and if there is none, then you're probably going to find yourself instantly attacked. There'll be a link in the description below to the Inside Star Citizen. Definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't. I really think these changes are very exciting, and between the reputation system and the river system, I think we're going to see it lead to more immersive gameplay throughout the verse for sure. And of course, on Friday, we saw the Star Citizen Live with a Q&A of the narrative team. And these are the folks that are actually responsible for the lore and background history of the Star Citizen universe and everything in it. They discussed a multitude of things, including something as simple as naming the weapons, although they did not explain exactly what a Galdarine is, and we're still not sure exactly, other than it's some type of animal somewhere in the verse. They also talked about how the reputation changes will affect lore, and discuss the formation of the backgrounds of different missions as they are created and how they get to the stories behind those missions. Going into a little bit more depth with how they work with the mission team in the development of all the missions throughout the verse as well. They also discussed their work with the AI team to develop AI in things such as dialogue and behaviors, and what makes sense for the type of character that they're creating. They even mentioned how their work in the universe covers things such as languages and graffiti, and how they work with the different teams to really be involved in the creation of the visual aspect based on what they create in the lore. The interesting part is seeing how much the narrative team is really intertwined with all the other aspects of Star Citizen and not just the storyline lore itself. They even go as far as needing to work with the marketing team on things like IAE and Invictus. And of course, midway through the show, Jared continues to escalate the Twitter war with informing people to tag John Crew if they want to see dragons in the Star Citizen universe. But as the episode went on, other questions came in revolving around interactions with the storyline about the slavery Sulis, of the Banu, as well as whether the Vanduul still exist in the verse, as they're really unseen. Jared emphasized that they are still out there, but they don't want to overexpose them before Squadron 42 to really retain some of that mystery and fear of that species. As we got to the end of the show, of course, they could not resist the Pico versus Finley debate, in which we all know Finley is the best in the plushie versus plushie argument. But this seemed to spark a moment in which the narrative team seemed to take over Star Citizen Live, and Jared even seemed to have lost a little bit of interest during these discussions. And ultimately, he gave up once the question came up about separate species bathrooms on the BMM. At this point, it really did solidify the overtaking of the show by the narrative team as Jared wheeled around in his chair moving collectibles. It really was a fun and interesting show, and I actually learned a lot by watching this, and the end just really made you laugh. The link's going to be in the description below. I highly recommend you check it out. So what do you think? Is this news that you find exciting? What are your thoughts or favorite points of the week? Leave me a comment and let me know. And don't forget, there is a YouTube exclusive giveaway this month for the Tobii Eye Tracker 5. That's going to be awarded on April 1st. All you have to do to enter is subscribe and comment on any video here on YouTube by the end of the month. Also, feel free to head over to Twitch, where you can catch our stream every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have the Twitch exclusive giveaways over there, and for the month of March, it's going to be a Thrustmaster T16000 HOTUS. To enter, just follow or subscribe on Twitch, and you'll be all good to go. And if you'd like to help support the channel, always feel free to check out the Patreon as well as the merch store, where we have a large amount of different items available, including the new large mouse mats with the Amarok's Fang emblem. You can even click the join button up top and become a member for as little as 99 cents per month, but everything that comes in through any of those sources goes right back out to provide for our giveaways. I want to say thank you to everybody for all the support. It means the world to me, and I greatly appreciate it, and we will catch you next time.